Today we wanted to talk about 10 games, in no particular order, that just push realistic gameplay elements really far. In some examples, maybe the realism goes a little too far, but either way, in some absolutely fascinating ways. We got 10 games to chat about, so let's get started off with number 10. Scum. This is a big one. The game has been in early access for many, many years, and it finally hit 1.0 in the summer of 2025, and it's a big one. You're dropped onto this massive island, and it's up to you and other players to survive, which sounds like a lot of other survival games, right?
Secure communication established. Welcome to the Scum Island.
But Scum is just shockingly in-depth. It's way more than meets the eye. While it looks like you're just a dirty guy dropped on a prison island, there's so much more going on. It's insane. From in-depth crafting that requires you to really tightly manage your resources, beyond what you would see in a normal survival game too. Detailed base building, there's NPCs now you could deal with. Again, you're fighting off like zombies, the elements, but the one aspect of this game we wanted to talk about is that there is a whole metabolism system, and it is incredibly in-depth. Just look it up. Like, the amount of on-screen data for your character's in-game metabolism is absolutely insane, and you have to work through all this through a complex cooking system and just managing your health, because having a good, healthy metabolism is key to your success in this game. It is a full survival game mechanic you have to manage, like you would thirst, hunger, stuff like that. Could you ever imagine, especially like if you were a young gamer back in the day, could you ever imagine playing a game where you had to worry about your metabolism? I couldn't. Could you imagine a game where you have to manage your metabolism and it's actually pretty cool and kind of engaging and fun? Yeah, I'm serious. Plus, you have to manage your character going to the bathroom, which is just another element of realism that I really like. It kind of solves the question I ask in a lot of movies that I watch, where I'm like, does this character ever go to the bathroom? Well, this is the video game version of that answer, I guess. Next at number 9, another survival style game, The Long Dark. It's just a solid survival game. I'd say it's one of the best. If you like mood, atmosphere, environmental storytelling, great vibes, great music and visuals, but you also like those survival gameplay mechanics, The Long Dark has all of that. And it's realistic in some interesting ways. It's not the most realistic game ever, but some of the elements are very intriguing. Most notably, how you deal with the cold and the weather. This is a very real, harsh environment that is out to kill you. But it's thoughtfully designed. It has a rising and setting sun and moon. Obviously, the cold is one of your biggest factors in how it affects your character, but also the wind and how the wind affects you, but also the fires you're building to keep yourself warm.
I don't feel so good. I need to rest up.
The snow can also make you wet, and then therefore wet and cold, so you need to be dry. There's a lot going on just with this stuff, not to mention all the other mechanics going on, with wildlife trying to kill you. You trying to feed yourself, you could die of starvation pretty quickly in this game. Everything decays, your food, your clothes, so you can be ragged and hungry if you're not playing very carefully. Along with that, the game has multiple difficulty modes and options to tune how difficult and how oppressive you want it to be. But really, with The Long Dark, the specialty is in dealing with realistically dangerous elements and dealing with time. How long it takes to feed yourself, how long it takes to get warm, how long it takes to dry yourself, how long your fire is gonna burn out. There's a lot you have to think about with this one, but somehow it manages to be accessible. And like we said at the start, it is still a lot of fun. Next at number 8, Ready or Not. This body cam style first-person shooter is all about tactics and realism, and it succeeds in a variety of ways. Not only do you have to take it slow, be careful, use tactics, know your environments, because you could die very, very quickly. What's realistic about it is just how tense it manages to feel. Not only because you can die very quickly if you turn a wrong corner and a guy is waiting for you with a gun, but the fact that the game encourages you to preserve life. You're trying to protect people, you're trying to save people and arrest people, not blow everyone away instantly.
Evidence good to go. You got the wrong guy. Put your hands up! Police, down on the ground! Hands up! Drop to your knees!
Sometimes you have to do it, but the way the game scores and encourages you to preserve life is really interesting and just adds a whole nother layer of tension. When you're pointing a gun at somebody, a suspect or whoever, and yelling for them to put their hands up, in the game, you feel like you really want them to do that. You want them to surrender because you don't want a firefight.
Get down and put your hands up! Light stick. Get down now!
No! It's not safe!
Hands in the air!
Please! No!
For your sake, for your scores, and for theirs. It's a heavy game for sure. It can be very brutal. It can feel very grim, but I think that's what's made it stand out in the market. It's not just a tactical first-person shooter that you can play by yourself or cooperatively. It's not just about police work and like SWAT team stuff and stacking up on doors. It's more than just stacking up on doors. It's what happens after and the decisions you make in a split second that make it feel real, man.
Clean house and we'll take them out.
I'm out! Cover me!
Next at number 7, Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead. A lot of you guys probably haven't heard about this game, and I know on screen it doesn't look like much, but when you break it down, it's actually really incredible. So this was like a community and fan-made project, and it is an incredibly in-depth roguelike. The RPG features, the RPG mechanics here on display are absolutely insane. You're out surviving a zombie apocalypse, which sounds like what you do in every other game, but the amount of systems and the amount of depths to the systems that this game has, it makes you feel like the possibilities are endless, which is kind of realistic. The crafting and building is wildly in-depth. It feels like you can build anything or make anything if you can think of it. You're not only building walls and stuff, but like you're soldering, you're wiring, and the game encourages like real creativity. The skill progression system is also incredibly in-depth, but it's just a really clever, like well-built game. Again, visually, it might not look like much to a lot of you, but if you look at all the systems going on here, it is absolutely mind-blowing. From the map itself, to the weapons, to the way you can build out your bases, to the NPCs you deal with, to the NPCs you can keep in your base. Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, and especially in terms of like the building and crafting, does have some really cool, realistic elements. Next at number 6, the incredibly fascinating ongoing game that is EVE Online. We've talked about this game in the past. It's been going strong since like 2003. And you're commanding ships in deep space. You're flying around. Adventuring around, you're trading with other planets, other communities, other players, dealing with this whole big universe. And while you think like a big sci-fi space adventure online persistent game doesn't sound realistic, honestly, it's just what happens in EVE Online that is so real. It's not the big spaceships that are realistic, but what the players actually do in this world that feels incredibly real. For all the years we've talked about this game, there's always stories about what players get up to in this game. People form their own communities, but not only that, they form their own political systems, forms of government. People apply for jobs in the world of EVE Online to command a ship.
Shit. 2 battleships breaking away from the enemy fleet. They're stopping the last civilian transport from warping away. Watch your 6, Captain.
Or own a shop. Massive space battles in this game have taken months and hit headlines. The in-game economy is a massive thing, and it's just as unpredictable as the real-world economy. In fact, it has actually crashed and absolutely shook things up in this world. All of this through just the sheer power of the community playing this game. The people that engage with EVE Online are unlike any other players out there. For some people, this is their only game. Like some people people love to live in the universe of World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy Online, EVE Online takes it to a whole nother level. Just look up some news stories about what has happened in this game. Trust me, it's gonna feel like you're reading about real life.
You can fit the module to your ship. Let's fit your new module in a free slot. Now, bring the module online.
Next at number 5, Receiver 2. If you're a gun nut or a weapons enthusiast, this might be the game for you. This is a first-person shooter experience, but it's really all about the weapons and how they're simulated. It may not be the most compelling campaign you've ever played, but you're coming here for the guns. To quote the developers, the game simulates every internal part of each firearm in the game based on real-world manufacturer schematics and gunsmithing resources. So if you want to get technical with this stuff, you'll be able to see how guns work, essentially. The science of how weapons work, how a firearm functions, how it malfunctions, how you fix it, how to use safety stuff, how to load, unload, take apart, all that. Then it gets even more in-depth with the physics and like ballistics and how bullets work, how gravity works, how ricocheting works. You take all this stuff, all the slow, deliberate, real reloading and handling of weapons, and you fight drones and stuff. It might not be everybody's cup of tea, but like the scientific or really like engineering depth on display here, the enthusiasm is on another level. Now at number 4, this is a pretty obvious one, a talked about one, but it's still fun to mention, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. While it's not the most realistic game ever, or realistic compared to some of the games on this list, the aspects where it does go all in are absolutely fantastic. Not only does it try and succeed to tell like a real medieval story in the medieval kingdom of Bohemia, the game's maps and locations are actually pretty similar to real life and historical documentation of the area from that time period. From the castles to where towns are placed, stuff like that. There's an in-depth reputation system and like how society reacts to what you do in the game and different levels of society. If you're too merciful, some noble people won't like that. They'll think that's unbecoming of you. If you're the last person spotted at a scene of the crime, and even if you weren't spotted doing anything, sometimes that can still lead to you being wanted. Also, people react to how you look, what clothing you're wearing, but more importantly, your hygiene. If you're covered in blood or you're dirty and disgusting and you haven't bathed, people will react accordingly. Along with that, your body odor is a deciding factor in stealth. If you're sneaking up behind a guy trying to pickpocket him or steal his keys or his wallet, if you smell like crap, he's gonna notice. He's gonna turn around and see you.
The best wares on the market. Come and take a look. You reek. You ought to be ashamed walking around smelling like that.
That's realism on a whole nother level. If that's not taking realism too far, if that's not a good example for this list, like then I don't know what is. There's a lot more, from the sword play to how you can bleed out to how riding on your horse. If you ride in front of a sign that's eye level or head level, it'll knock you clean off your horse. The little things like that. KCD 2 is realistic in all the right ways. Now down at number 3, Microsoft Flight Simulator. Just an incredibly realistic game for many, many years now because it tries to accurately simulate what it's like flying a plane, down to every last little switch, button, and dial. You can tune these games to how difficult and how hardcore simulation you want them to be, but people live their pilot dreams in this game with full flight setups, managing throttle, managing electronics, all this stuff. It can be incredibly in-depth, not only mechanically, but also the game models these cockpits with full realistic detail. Along with that, you're dealing with weather patterns. and you're flying over real-world maps. The game uses real-world data to the equivalent of like a Google Maps thing to simulate actual distances and actual cities and places and land masses below you. If that's not realism, I don't know what is. I mean, I know you can get the Pelican from Halo in Flight Simulator, so it's not technically all realistic, but you know what I mean. That's the point of this video. Now down at number 2, Hell Let Loose, a really compelling and now long-running competitive World War II FPS. You've got 100-player battles with infantry, tanks, artillery, all different types of weapons while you manage your own life and resources in incredibly intense and just downright sweaty battles. Conflict is intense and brutal in Hell Let Loose because it can be downright hopeless sometimes, and I think that comes down to the realistic elements that they've implemented. The damage models in this game are like realistic and just insanely unforgiving. A lot of the times you're gonna get shot once and you're dead. That's it, which really simulates the hopelessness of this type of war. But it really comes down to the realistic elements of the game, like, you know, the scale of the battles, the maps, the locations of buildings. They're trying to actually showcase accurately these realistic battlefields from your history textbooks. Along with that comes down to like the weapons, the vehicles, the types of artillery used. The game is really made for history nerds first and foremost. You're taking advantage of different classes with different roles. And not only are you worrying about like the house you're in getting blown up or your head getting blown off, but also true to life ballistics and recoil patterns, making it so you really feel like a desperate soldier and things are tense. You're not always going to be this completely accurate badass in a firefight. It's an incredible game. It's been going for years. They've added tons of content to it. And, you know, no battle really ever feels the same. And Hell Let Loose is incredibly unique. Now down at number 1, Green Hell. This 2019 survival game just gives you a lot to do. Well, at first, it does look like every old survival game. You're crafting, you're building, you're chopping down trees, you're dealing with wildlife. Green Hell is brutal in how realistic it is, down to little things. Everything is trying to kill you in this game. The wildlife goes after you, and most of the time it's gonna kill you if you're not prepared. But also, it's the water you drink, it's the food you eat. If you sleep on the ground, there's a chance bugs could get on you and then you could get an infection and die. You know, you walk through the swamp, you're going through water, you're gonna have to take leeches off your leg. You don't just click on chicken and then you eat and then your health bar goes up. You actually have to worry about certain nutrients and you have to manage what exactly your character is eating. You're also worried about native tribes trying to kill you, or you turn a corner and a poisonous spider will bite you that you didn't even notice.
Huh? What's that? Oh!
There's so much in Green Hell trying to kill you, coupled with intuitive building and a really good, fun representation of trying to survive in the Amazon rainforest. It does not hold your hand at all, and even the inventory system feels really in-depth and kind of real. It's just a good one. It's a really underrated survival game. We've talked about it in the past, and while moment to moment it's not highly realistic, some of the individual mechanics really are. From, like I said, the inventory to how you heal yourself to just how you could die and not even realize. Green Hell is certainly unique in the survival genre, but those are 10 games that might take realism a little too far in some aspects. There's a lot of other examples out there. I know we only really scratched the surface, so let us know in the comments what realism elements you've liked in games, or maybe just a game that you think full stop is the most realistic game ever. Let us know in the comments anything you want. If you like talking games with us, clicking the like button helps us out. We really appreciate that, but we're here every single day, so thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.